You lied to me. Taylor secretly married in Europe and husband shows up in Italy. Ridge blindsided. Something big is happening on The Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor Hayes has a secret that nobody knows about. She has been keeping it hidden for a time. Now it is out in the open. Taylor Hayes was living a life in Europe. This life is very different from her life in Los Angeles. Then something unexpected happens. Taylor Hayes' husband shows up in Italy. Taylor Hayes did not think anyone would ever find out about her husband. Now she has to deal with what happens when people find out about her marriage to her husband. Taylor Hayes is in a spot because of her secret life with her husband. Ridge Forrester is really upset by what he found out. He is having a time dealing with the fact that Taylor kept something so big from him. The man who is standing in front of him is someone Ridge Forrester never knew existed. This man is making Ridge Forrester question everything he thought he knew about Taylor and their life together. Taylor is trying to tell Ridge Forrester why she made the choices she did. This is bringing up old hurts, and Ridge Forrester does not know if he can trust Taylor anymore. Ridge Forrester still has feelings for Taylor. He is also really shocked by the fact that she got married to someone else. Ridge Forrester is torn between his love for Taylor and the surprise of her marriage to this man. The European setting makes the reunion feel like a movie with dramatic scenes. There are streets, dinners by candlelight, and quiet arguments that lead to sadness, anger, and surprising friendships. The Forrester-Taylor saga is full of relationships. Friends and family in Europe and America get pulled into the mess. Each person's reaction shows how complicated things are. The Forrester-Taylor saga is about lies, love, and loyalty, and it is very tangled. The story is about Taylor. What makes her do things? She wants to be loved. She is scared of people not liking her. She also has secrets that she has kept hidden for a long time, and that is causing problems. At the time, Ridge is thinking about his own mistakes. He is wondering if he really knows Taylor, the woman he has loved for a long time, which is decades. The story is about Taylor and her feelings. It is also about Ridge and what he thinks about Taylor. Taylor's husband shows up. It totally changes Ridge's life. This also makes everyone around them think about how easy it's to lose trust and how strong feelings can be. They realize that in a world that is all about looking good and being fancy, people can still get hurt in ways they never saw coming. Every time these people talk to each other, it is really tense. You can see the conflict in Taylor's eyes. Ridge is angry, does not believe what is happening. Taylor's husband is convinced that he has a right to the life Taylor has been keeping secret. The situation with Taylor's husband and Ridge is very emotional. Taylor's husband being there affects Ridge and everyone else in a way. The story is getting really interesting. Viewers get to see a lot of emotions and relationships changing. People who used to be friends are not friends anymore. Old couples are getting back together. The big question is, can love work when someone has been betrayed, or has Taylor's secret marriage changed everything for the Forrester family? The story has a lot of surprises, arguments, and emotional talks. Each character has to deal with Taylor's marriage and their own feelings, mistakes, and truths. They have to think about what they want and what they regret. The Forrester legacy is at stake because of Taylor's marriage. Audiences are left questioning loyalties, sympathizing with flawed characters, and eagerly anticipating the explosive fallout that will ripple through Los Angeles and beyond, ensuring that the boldest and most beautiful drama yet is far from over. Taylor's secret marriage was something she kept hidden. It was a part of her life that she did not want people to know about. Now Taylor is standing in Italy on cobblestone streets with her husband. The old buildings in Italy are casting shadows around Taylor and her husband. Taylor's husband is a man who looks very confident. He seems like a person to Ridge. Ridge has loved Taylor for a long time. Now he is having a hard time understanding that the woman he loves is actually married to this man. Ridge sees Taylor's husband as a stranger. Ridge's mind was over the place as he tried to make sense of what he was seeing. The woman he loved was standing next to some guy, a husband that Ridge did not even know she had. This woman's eyes looked really scared and guilty and desperate all at the time. Ridge had tried to push down his feelings for her, like trusting her and loving her and wanting to be with her. Now all those feelings were crashing into his shock and confusion. He felt really vulnerable and open in a way that he never had before. Ridge's emotions were all mixed up. He did not know what to do. The love of his life was standing there with her husband, and Ridge felt like he had been punched in the gut. Taylor saw that Ridge looked really fragile, so she tried to explain how she was feeling. She had a lot of emotions. It was hard for her to put them into words. Taylor told Ridge about how lonely she was when she was in Europe. She met someone by chance and they started talking. It just happened. Taylor had hoped that Ridge would never find out about this. Seems like that was not meant to be. Taylor was feeling really bad about what happened. She did not know what to say to Ridge. She just knew that she had to tell him the truth about what was going on with her and this other person. The husband was very calm, did not get upset. He was totally in control, which was very different from Ridge, who was really confused. Taylor, who was very nervous. When the husband was around, he changed the way people talked to each other, the way they looked at each other, and even the way their hearts beat. The husband spoke in a calm voice, but what he said was very important. He told them things about his marriage that Ridge could hardly understand, like the papers they had to sign, the wedding ceremonies that nobody knew about, and the private moments that Ridge never got to be a part of. The husband talked about these things with authority, which meant that people listened to him and believed what he said. Every word that Taylor said felt like a weight on Ridge's chest. It made him think about Taylor's secret and the choices he made. He thought about the things he assumed were true and the ideas he had about their love. Ridge felt angry. He was also confused and very sad. He wanted to yell at Taylor and ask him a lot of questions. He wanted to get the life he thought was his. A part of Ridge could not do anything because what Taylor said was so big and shocking. Ridge's anger was strong at first. Then he started to feel confused and sad. The truth about Taylor's secret was very hard for Ridge to deal with. Every word that Taylor said made Ridge think about their love and the choices he made. Taylor felt a big scare come over her. She realized that the balance she had worked hard to keep was gone in just one moment. The streets in Europe, which she used to think were so nice and peaceful, now felt tight and overwhelming. They seemed to be repeating to her all the things she never said out loud, all the things she was not totally honest about every time she told a little lie. Taylor thought about the streets and how they used to be so romantic in her mind, but now they just felt like they were closing in on her. Friends and family over the world were really upset. They were sending messages to each other all the time, trying to figure out what was going on. People in Los Angeles were talking about it, quietly spreading rumors. The people who work at Forrester were wondering how Ridge could still love Taylor when she was already married to someone in Europe. Steffi and Brooke heard some of the story. They could not believe it. They felt like they had been betrayed. Each of the women was wondering where she fit in because the lives they thought they knew were not what they seemed. Ridge and his problems with Taylor were causing a lot of trouble for everyone, Ridge and Taylor themselves. Deacon saw that Taylor and Ridge were having some problems. He wanted to be with Taylor, so he was waiting for the moment to make his move. What all the characters did made things more complicated. It was like a mess of feelings with love, jealousy, loyalty and anger all mixed together. The situation with Taylor and Ridge was very intense. Deacon was waiting to see what would happen with Taylor. Taylor and Ridge's relationship was important to Deacon because he wanted to be with Taylor. Ridge was trying to get his thoughts. He had to face the truth. Taylor had made a choice. This choice was not something Ridge could change. It was about how Taylor felt about Ridge in their past. It was also about the connection between Taylor and Ridge, a connection that had been weak for a time. Ridge and Taylor had a history together. Taylor's choice was tied to that history and the bond between Ridge and Taylor. He remembered the nights that went on forever, the talks, the times they were kind to each other. These things made their relationship special. Now he was not sure if these memories were good because of the man who was not there before. Taylor's eyes were big and sad. They were asking Ridge to understand. Taylor wanted Ridge to know that love is not easy and that life can be very strange. Life can take you on a path that you do not expect. Taylor's eyes were looking at Ridge, trying to make him see that love is never simple. The memories of their relationship, the nights, the quiet talks were still in his mind. The husband was a man, but he was always there. He reminded me of all the things that were not clear to us. The things that happen when we make decisions without talking to others. The husband showed me that the truth will come out one day. The truth will not stay hidden forever. It will come out. Everyone will know about it. The husband was like a symbol of this truth, a reminder that our decisions can have results, and that we cannot hide the truth for long. The truth will demand to be known. It will demand its time to be heard. Ridge was really upset. He found himself walking around the piazzas and alleyways of Italy by himself. He had a lot on his mind. The city was bustling with people on vacation. There were lots of cafes and musicians playing music on the street. To Ridge it all seemed kinda mean because he was so sad inside. He thought about the time he spent with Taylor. He remembered the times when they were close, the times when they broke up, and the promises they made to each other when they were sitting outside looking up at the stars. Ridge felt a pain of losing Taylor that hurt more than just being angry. The memories of Taylor and the pain of losing him were still with Ridge as he walked around Italy. In that time by himself he figured out that the big problem was not that Taylor got married in secret. The big problem was that the woman he loved had become a person and made decisions that he could not control. The situation was really getting to him. He had to think about his feelings and face the fact that he was vulnerable, which is something he had been trying to avoid for a long time. The situation with Taylor was really tough for him to deal with. Taylor was dealing with her problems. She had thought this meeting would be different. She had wanted to work things out with Ridge or at least have him understand her. The truth was harder to face than she thought it would be. Taylor went back and forth between being defensive and saying sorry, between having hope and feeling sad. She was trying to tell Ridge that being married did not mean she did not have feelings for him. Taylor wanted Ridge to know that her marriage and her feelings for him were connected in a way. She loved him. She was loyal to her husband, but she also had her own needs. Taylor and Ridge had a history together. She still had feelings for him, and that was a fact. Every single thing she did, every sound of her voice, every look she gave said a lot. Her husband was very calm. He told Ridge that love is not simple. It has sides to it. Life is not like a story where everything makes sense. Taylor made some choices, but she was not trying to trick anyone. She was just dealing with her complicated feelings as a human being. The story got really interesting when some unexpected people showed up in Italy. These were family members, old flames and friends who were curious about what was going on. Each of these people had their way of looking at things, their own opinions and their own reasons for being involved in the drama that was unfolding. People were talking at the same time, accusations were being thrown around and emotions were running high in the city's public squares and private hallways. Ridge was feeling more and more alone because of all the secrets that were coming out. He was trying to figure out if he could forgive people, if he could get back what he had lost, or if things were too broken to be fixed. The Italy situation was getting complicated for Ridge. He was not sure what to do about it, about the people in Italy and about himself in Italy. Taylor's husband was not a guy. He was a man who showed us that people can be connected in complicated ways. This made everyone think about love. Love is not simple. Comes in forms. Taylor's husband reminded us of this. Love is something that's hard to understand because it is so complicated. Ridge had to deal with a lot of things when the story got to its exciting part. He found out about Taylor's marriage. He also had to think about the truth that had always been a part of their lives. The truth is that love is never easy. You can never be sure if someone will be loyal to you. People can hurt you on purpose or by accident. The past and the present were always clashing. What people wanted and what they actually got were different. Some people trusted each other while others had doubts. All of this made the story very intense. Every time someone looked at someone, said something, or made a gesture, it could change what happened next. Ridge and Taylor's lives were full of love. Also full of things that could go wrong. Love was not simple for them. Taylor, Ridge and her husband were all feeling different emotions. When they talked to each other, it was like there was a lot of tension in the air. This made the whole situation very interesting to watch for everyone who saw it, whether they were part of the show or just watching at home. Taylor, Ridge and her husband were all going through a lot. It was clear that their relationships with each other were very complicated. The story, it left people wondering about love and forgiveness. It made them think about what happens when you keep secrets for long. Ridge was really hurt. Taylor was being very open. The husband was being very mysterious. All of these things together made for a dramatic scene. This scene would be talked about over the world. It was a story about feelings, people doing bad things to each other, and how life can be very unpredictable. The story of Ridge and Taylor and the husband was one that people would not forget. It was a story about love and secrets and the bad things that can happen when you keep secrets. The European setting, rich with history and romance, underscored the poignancy of the moment, making it clear that even in a world dominated by glamour and prestige, the most powerful forces remain human emotion, choice, and the sometimes devastating cost of hidden truths. Ridge felt really lost. He was in Italy, a place that's usually so nice and full of people. Now the streets just felt overwhelming. Every step he took felt heavy because he felt betrayed. He walked around without knowing where he was going, through alleys with buildings that were painted in pretty colors. Every time he turned a corner he thought about what could have been. He thought about the kisses he would never have again and the trust that was broken in one moment. Rich kept thinking about what Taylor had said. Taylor's words were like a game, some of it was true and some of it was not. Rich thought about Taylor's words a lot, trying to figure out what was real and what was not. He thought about Italy. How it used to be a happy place for him, but now it just reminded him of Taylor and what happened. She did not want me to know. She thought that it would keep me safe. She thought that it would keep us safe. This safety came with a price. Rich felt this price deeply in his chest. His hands were shaking a little as he walked by a cafe. There were couples in the cafe. They were laughing and eating sweet things together. Rich noticed that love was around him. His own love had been broken in a way that he never thought could happen. Rich felt this break strongly. Taylor was stuck in her emotional mess. She did not want Rich to meet her husband soon. What was supposed to be a thing, a secret life that was far away, had become a big deal. Now Taylor had to figure out the impossible. She had to find a way to keep her marriage okay while also dealing with the love she still felt for Taylor's husband. Was not the problem was Ridge. She still had feelings for Ridge. She felt like these two men were waiting for her to make a decision. They both wanted a part of her heart. She felt bad because she knew that no matter what she said, it would not fix what was already broken. Her husband was really calm, which was a little scary, and he just watched as everything fell apart. He seemed sure of himself, which was something that Ridge did not understand. Her husband was not angry or desperate, he just seemed steady, and that reminded Ridge that the choices Taylor made were final. The first time Ridge and Taylor's husband met was in a fancy square. The sun was shining down on the stones and it made the people's faces look really tense. Ridge said some harsh things to him. His words were like a slap in the face, they were so sharp. He could not believe what he was hearing. Ridge said to him, "You were alive all this time and I had no idea you existed?" Taylor's husband was really calm when he talked about their marriage. He explained that it was legal and that they had a wedding. They had some moments together that made their marriage strong. Ridge got very angry. He was also confused and felt like things were not fair. He felt sad. He could not stop feeling that way. Ridge had loved Taylor for a long time, they had been through a lot together. But now he had to deal with the fact that Taylor was really married to someone else, and nothing he did could change that. Ridge had always been loyal to Taylor, cared about her deeply, but now that did not seem to matter. As time went by, Ridge started thinking about the things Taylor did. Also about the things he did. He thought about how times he thought he knew what was going on in her life, what she wanted and how she felt. He thought about how he just assumed that being with him was enough to make her feel safe when things were not going well. Now that he had to face the fact that she got married in Europe, he realized that love is not always easy. Ridge thought that real love, the kind that lasts, is never simple. He thought about Taylor and her life, and he thought about his life and how he felt about love. Ridge realized that he did not know much about Taylor as he thought he did. The life of Ridge was made up of layers, with moments that were shared with others and moments that were secret. Sometimes Ridge had to make sacrifices that did not make sense. Ridge felt a pain that was not about being jealous or angry. The pain Ridge felt was a sadness for the life Ridge thought he had. Now that life was changed forever by a decision that Ridge did not know about. This decision was something Ridge could not control and something Ridge could not change. Ridge felt this way because the life of Ridge was now different. Taylor saw that Ridge was really upset. She wanted to talk to him. She spoke quietly because she did not want to scare him. "Ridge, please, this is not what you think it is. I did not want to hurt you. I loved you. I still love you. I had to do what my heart told me to do. I did not know how to explain it to you. I never thought things would get this bad." Ridge was so upset that he could barely hear what Taylor was saying. Each phrase they said made the distance between them very clear. It seemed impossible to make their shared work with the truth about her secret. He felt like yelling at her and asking her a lot of questions. He wanted to get the love they had, but it felt like part of it had been taken away from him. At the time, he knew deep down that the choices Taylor made, even though they hurt him, were a big part of what made Taylor who she was. He understood that Taylor's choices were part of Taylor. She had really lived her life to the fullest. The woman had found the strength to deal with some tough emotions. He was not a part of her life in some ways. That was not because she was trying to hurt him. It was just that she had to do what was best for her at the time. She had to take care of herself. That meant keeping some things to herself. The woman had to be brave and make some choices, and that meant he was not included in every part of her life. The city was really down because of what was going on with the people. It was. The clouds were over the red roofs. The shadows were very long and weird on the streets. You could hear the church bells ringing from away, and it made everything feel tense. Ridge went to a bridge over a canal. The water was dark.